What's up? This video is going to be on Starbucks, ticker symbol SBUX, and I'm just going to comment about what the events that happened today, right? So in the morning, Starbucks pre-released their earnings, and basically they said that they were projected to have basically missed their sales, right? They had lower sales, and and then they dropped. Today they dropped to the max. The most they dropped was 6%, and then they rose back up to I think like 4.12% or 4.12% in the aftermarket. And I wanted to talk about this because I made a video earlier or a few months back talking about how basically the sudden rally that Starbucks had after it was news that announced was after the sudden rally that Starbucks had after news was announced that they poached the CEO of Chipotle, ticker symbol CMG. So, long story short, the CEO of Chipotle, right? Chipotle stock's been doing really, really well under the CEO, and then he's seen as a really, really good CEO, right? So basically, when Starbucks got the CEO, shareholders were like, "Oh, this guy's gonna turn Starbucks around, right?" Because Starbucks was basically already a sinking ship, and I commented talking about how this move is really irrational and it doesn't really make sense. Um, so for the main real reason, right, is basically just because a CEO does really well in company A, if he moves over to company B, it doesn't necessarily translate, right? The problem in the environment that Chipotle was facing is completely different from the environment and the scenario of Starbucks. And I talked about this earlier in the previous video again, but I'm just going to say it again just to reiterate. So, Chipotle has a much more loyal fan base than Starbucks, right? So, for example, um, people will go to Chipotle even if it's next to a bunch of taquerias, even if it's next to a bunch of QSRs, quick service restaurants, right? And the loyal fan base that Chipotle has will stay with them, and they have a lot of those loyal fans, right? Whereas um, with Starbucks, if you have a Starbucks next to a bunch of coffees or next to a bunch of coffee shops, in my opinion, right? Tell me if I'm wrong, but in my opinion, I feel that the people that normally go to Starbucks, they don't mind changing loyalty or like dropping loyalty to Starbucks and going to try those different coffee shops. That's just my opinion. It's No one really raves about Starbucks coffee. Instead, what they do is it's kind of just like, oh well, I have coffee every day, and then I went to Starbucks before, so I'm gonna go there again, right? But the moment they raise prices, or the moment like something changes, right? A lot of people maybe they'll be more willing to go to maybe a Tim Hortons, maybe like a more local brand, right? A Blue Bottle, maybe a Pete's, right? And in my opinion, I just don't think that Starbucks has that loyal fan base that Chipotle has. For example, when Chipotle started raising the prices a lot, right? People would complain about about the price hike in Chipotle, but they would still go. Just I think it was either 2 days ago or yesterday. My friend was complaining that that Chipotle extra meat steak cost $5.50, and he was complaining about it while he was eating his Chipotle. So like, even though it's more expensive, people will still go to Chipotle because they like it because they're loyal to Chipotle. And there's not really any other restaurant that, like, you could say there's other restaurants that are similar to Chipotle, but no one has the same taste. Whereas coffee, on the other hand, like, for God's sakes, they sell their coffee grinds, right? So like, you can just make it at home if you needed to. And like coffee, Starbucks isn't known for having a specifically good coffee compared to like maybe your own home brewed coffee, or maybe coffee from like Pete's or from Blue Bottle, as I said before. And Chipotle is missing that, or Starbucks is missing that. Additionally, how much time does it take to make a coffee? I'll give you 5 minutes tops, right? If you have to boil the water and you have a really slow boiler, I'll give you 10 minutes. How, if you were to remake all the choices you have at Chipotle, I've done it before. It took me at least 2 hours, at the very least 2 hours. And that's not accounting for marinating time and all those things, right? Like, think about all the things that they have at Chipotle, right? You have to marinate your different types of meats, right? You have to cook your rice. You have to make your pico de gallo, your guacamole. You have to prepare all the ingredients. You need to buy a little bit of everything all for one meal. That doesn't make sense, right? So Chipotle actually benefits a lot more from economies of scale than Starbucks does. Starbucks, you see them make the coffee, right? They don't have to prepare anything. They're just pouring stuff into a blender and then mixing it, right? Whereas Chipotle, while you're ordering, they're still cooking up batches of whatever the heck it is, and they still have to order and procure maybe their salsas, right? I know they bring their salsas, their guacamole, all those things, right? Those things they ship in, but then like the stuff that they cook, that takes a long time, and we don't have access to those ingredients, so we'll never be able to create something that's um, um, close to Chipotle in that fast of a time. So I really do believe that like listen the situation that Chipotle is in is completely different from the situation that Starbucks is in. So just because they poached the Chipotle CEO, that was in which Chipotle's stock did really really well under his directorship, just because Starbucks now has that CEO doesn't really mean anything, right? Like the main problem still exists. Um, Starbucks is expanding into a like trying to expand globally, right? But then the places they're expanding to, they don't like they're expanding into like Asia, right? Like China. They're focusing hard on China. Do you know what's happening in China right now? Does anyone not notice the economy of China? Like, and even then, I don't know about you, but most of my family members, I'm Chinese by the way, so like most of my family members, they don't drink coffee that much. They drink tea, right? And then they drink boba, right? But if you go to Starbucks, the only boba they have tastes like you're just drinking syrup, and it's popping boba. It's not even regular boba. It's popping boba. Like they, it doesn't like they're going to the wrong demographic in my like, and they're trying to stay fancy. They're trying to like act as if they're this their coffee is like higher end or whatever. That's not the case, right? When you go to a high end coffee shop, the environment is there. Then like you sit at a nice cafe, like everything looks really nice, right? Starbucks used to be like that, but it no longer is like that. Like right, they have the drive through, they have the like it became a lot more streamlined, and then the people that are into like sitting down at a nice coffee shop, drinking artisanal coffee or whatever, right? They kind of that crowd moved on to different coffee shops when Starbucks lowered like basically not, they I want to say they lowered their quality, but like they changed their atmosphere to be a much more like grab and go type atmosphere, and it's not as like laid back and not as like I want to say hipster, but like not as hipster as it used to be, or as it yeah as it used to be, right? So like in my opinion, I said this before, right? So it rose 30 the market cap of Starbucks rose $30 billion, if I'm remembering correctly. Like please correct me if I'm wrong, but it rose $30 million the day that they poached the CEO. And this just goes to show you that like just because you get someone good from a different company, right, it doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be able to work their same magic on this company B. In this case, Chipotle's CEO working their magic on Starbucks. So I just wanted to kind of like talk about what happened to Starbucks, and also kind of not really a warning, but like issue like a PSA that like in the future kind of like don't fall for the hype of he tripled the stock price in his old company, he's gonna do it again in this company. That's not how it works. Right? Chipotle has a loyal fan base. They're smart enough to like grow slowly, whereas Starbucks is growing way too rapidly without even like having any test shops, right? They don't even know if it's gonna do well in China. They just threw the dice and like China, we're gonna expand like like rabbits. That's it, right? So I don't know. Yeah, this is me rambling about. Yeah, I was right. I was right. Starbucks, like, I mean, yeah, Starbucks is fine, right? As a consumer, I think Starbucks is fine, but as an investor, the steps that they're taking, I feel like they're doing faux pas after faux pas after faux pas. If you look at like, even if you look at the their their marketing strategy, it's all just discount, 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 and it's like, if that's the only way you're attracting customers, and the other and your other only customers are just the ones that are kind of going there habitually, if you try to raise your prices, or like if someone else or something else comes in, or like then it's much easier to poach those those customers. Whereas I feel like the customers of Chipotle are more like the customers of Coke or Pepsi, right? They're like die-hard Coke fans. They're die-hard Coke fans. They're die-hard Pepsi fans. Even McDonald's, right? Some people could be like die-hard McDonald's fans because you hear people raving about, oh, McDonald's chicken nuggets are the best. McDonald's French fries are the best, right? You don't hear that about Starbucks. No one says Starbucks is iced Americano is the best, or I mean the closest thing I get is maybe like the pumpkin spice, and maybe I think someone likes one of my friends like I think it was either the egg bite or the maybe the banana bread was good, but like you don't really hear that. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Starbucks has no moat. Starbucks has no real loyalty. Starbucks has it's too like Starbucks is competing with the one. Starbucks also has this one competitor that it will oftentimes lose to when the economy is bad, which is basically just yourself. You can just cook. You can just make your coffee yourself. You can't make your Chipotle yourself in a timely manner. That's it. That's all I want to say. So I'm not hating on Starbucks. It's just the rally that happened after they poached the CEO a few months back was completely unwarranted, and this is kind of proof of that happening, right? Like I don't know, maybe he is good. Maybe he's working on it, and it takes some time. But sales continue to drop, and they continue to like focus on growth in the company, basically just bad growth, right? They're continuing to focus on China. They're continuing to, and I think they're actually like lowering or like removing some of the discounts, or like lessening some of the amount of discounts that they give, which is also just gonna lower the amount of people that are going. They'll go somewhere else. They'll go to Pete's. They'll go to Blue Bottle. They'll go to wherever the heck. I don't really drink coffee, but and come on, get regular boba. Come on. But yeah, that's it.